The other time we dealt with Apollo. Today we're going to talk about Abaddon. If I get into Abaddon, I remember I mentioned something about operation, obsession, and possession. I explained obsession, but I didn't really go to explain possession and operation. I want to talk briefly about possession. We don't easily encounter cases of demonic possession, because possession means that the demon is actually living inside you. We get more cases of obsessions, operation, but possession is very rare. And I will not even recommend, even our charismatics who believe they are too strong, I don't really suggest or recommend that any lay person will go into any case of possession as to handle it, because it's very dangerous. And it is because of the perilous nature of diabolic possessions that the Catholic Church, in her wisdom, advises that no priest has right to practice exorcism without the permission of the bishop. But to be sure that people are helped, the church also instructs that the bishop of every diocese should appoint a priest exorcist. And such people are appointed only and only after the bishop has really thoroughly examined and understood the moral probity of the person in question. That goes to tell you that this creature, the devil, is not somebody to toil with. That's about possession. Possession means the demon is living inside you. Obsession means he comes, does whatever he wants to do, and goes again, and you become normal. But when he comes, two spirits cannot stay in the same body. When he stays inside you, your real spirit, your human spirit, is like out. And then that's why he's able to manipulate you and control you. But when he goes, maybe through prayers, and he's thrown out, you regain yourself, you become normal again. It's not even something too serious. As I mentioned the other time, that the devil has no power over you except when you, on your own, invite him, either through the type of life you live, by your word of mouth, by the things you do. Somebody can also get you initiated, actually, especially when you are very weak. But if you're strong in prayers, no process of initiation will get you through. However, even if you have such a problem, remember the name Jesus Christ is higher than every other name. This idea of jumping around and shouting around and terrifying ourselves and being afraid of one thing or the other, somebody is sick, instead of going to the hospital, you believe that it is demon. That is uncalled for. Now let's go to Abaddon. Apollyon takes charge of false religions. Abaddon, another name for Abaddon is polluting demon. Abaddon, otherwise called polluting demon, is really a terrible spirit, a terrible demon. Why is it called polluting demon? He is called polluting demon because of the type of things he does. Because he is responsible for what I may describe as very unnatural things and things that are really very deadly. And I'm going to give some instances so that you see that this demon is actually very, very active in our world of today. Yes, because of the way we live our lives today, some people may not be very happy with some of the things I have to say, but my duty and my responsibility is to tell you the truth. You may or may not accept it, but one thing remains obvious. You can never hide the truth forever. One day, one way or the other, it's going to rear its head out again. Abaddon, meaning eternal destruction. I said it's called also polluting demon. And he is in charge. His major duty is to encourage people into getting themselves in some of these very dirty and unnatural things. Example is hard drugs, smoking of weed, hard drugs, cocaine, heroin, and most of these other things. Even homosexuality, lesbianism, and all these other unnatural things, all of them get connected with this demon. Let me pick just some of these things I have just mentioned. Look at our young people today. It's like drug is our second nature. When I look at our young people, the issue of smoking weed is no longer a story. When we were small, we call it Igbo, as Igbo. It's very rare to see such people, and they do it in hiding. Today, it has become a common experience, a common place. And when I look at some of these young people, the issue is that if you have never tried, don't even start, because once you step in, to step out is a problem. And I know that many are already highly addicted to this. I may not blame all of them, because some of them, they get into this maybe because of issues in life, especially family problems, most especially some of our young people who never really experienced what it means to have parental care and parental love. Often they feel so frustrated. They go to bed in the night, they are not able to sleep. And so to calm themselves down, they end up smoking weed. But I tell you, it is never the solution. It will rather cause you more problem. That's why when you see some of them, that's not good. Now I was and you look at some of these things, it is clear to you that this person is no longer acting naturally. It doesn't mean that whoever smokes weed or takes cocaine or codeine or some of these hard drugs, that already this demon is already at work. No. But remember, the principal architect for this is called Abaddon. Look at the issue of homosexuality. Today we talk of gay. Gay is a big problem all over the world now. I have always asked myself, heterosexuals don't make noise about it. Why must gay people disturb us because they are gay? You see a young man today, it has become a commonplace now. Before in Africa, you hardly see a man putting on earring. But these days, almost every young man you see earring. I don't have an issue with that, because we see these things in the internet, we see them online. Even some of us don't even know the significance of some of the colors they put on, like pink, yellow. If you put on pink and yellow, these two colors especially, you are telling the world, look, I belong to this other side, to the gay. Now, what is the issue with homosexuality, with lesbianism, with bestiality, with transgender, and most of these things? Remember the principal officer, Abaddon. If you go with me to the scriptures, for example, Leviticus chapter 18 verse 22 will tell you that you, a man, you don't have to sleep with a fellow man as with a woman. It's an abomination before the Lord. Abomination because this is very unnatural. And often people will say, oh, they were born that way. Oh, that is their nature. I very much understand that. It's not just an issue that started today. It has been there even in the history of scholarship. Some philosophers were known actually to be homosexuals. If it is not something that is of the ancient times, it wouldn't be in the Bible. So the fact that the Old Testament talks about it means that actually it has been there. Even the issue of Sodom and Gomorrah, sodomy, that's another name for homosexuality. It is a claim that that was the sin committed by the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. I don't know, I wasn't there. If you read Romans chapter 1 from verse 26 to 30, God repudiates this and says human beings suffer because they do what even animals do not do. And not just that alone, 1 Corinthians chapter 6 from verse 9 to 10, St. Paul mentioned it as one of the sins that if one commits it and you are living in that type of sin, you have no hope to ever enter the kingdom of God. It's not just coming from me, I'm just citing the scriptures. But then the issue there is that I wish, we may have time in the future to dwell so much on this aspect of the human life for us to see even the destructions, the problems we cause ourselves, emotional trauma, psychological problems and all. Sometimes you go to the hospital, you see some people, their other side is just open like that. Why? Because of all this nonsense. The principal officer, the principal architect is called Abaddon, polluting demon. So if you're into this, you better run for your dear life, meet a priest, ask for serious prayer of deliverance. Thank you, and God bless you.